Have you ever looked back at your life and realized that you've been working hard for years, yet your financial situation hasn't really improved? It's like no matter how much effort you put in, things stay the same or even get worse in subtle ways. Your salary might creep up a little with each promotion or raise, but so does the pressure that comes with it. The longer hours, the tighter deadlines, the constant feeling that you're one mistake away from falling behind. You earn more money on paper, but somehow you end up spending even more, chasing after things that seemed essential, but now just add to the clutter in your life. You keep pushing yourself forward, grinding through the days, yet your future still feels so fragile, like it's hanging by the thinnest thread, ready to snap at any unexpected turn. It's exhausting, isn't it? That sensation of running on a hamster wheel, where you sprint faster and faster, your legs burning, your breath short, but when you glance around, you're still in exactly the same place. No progress, no escape. Most of us are trapped in this familiar loop that we've come to accept as normal. Work all day, get paid at the end of the month, spend it on bills and necessities, and maybe a few treats to make it all feel worthwhile, then wait anxiously for the next paycheck to roll in. And then we repeat it all over again, month after month, year after year, for the rest of our lives without ever questioning there's a better way. Have you noticed that terrifying moment when you realize that if you stop working, even for a short while, your income stops too? It's like your entire livelihood is tethered to your daily grind, and without it, everything crumbles. You don't control your money in that scenario. Instead, it controls you, dictating your schedule, your stress levels, your very freedom. But the rich, they're different in a profound way. They don't waste their lives spinning in that wheel, chasing endless exertion for fleeting rewards. No, they build roads, pathways that lead to lasting security and independence. They don't just live off their labor, trading hours for dollars in a never-ending exchange. They live off assets, those smart, strategic things that keep generating money for them, whether they're sound asleep in bed, longing on a beach vacation, or pursuing their wildest dream life without a care. The core difference between someone who merely earns money through sweat and someone who builds assets that work on autopilot is the difference between scraping by to make a living and actually living free, unburdened, and empowered. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 powerful principles that will help you step out of that exhausting survival loop and embark on the journey toward true financial freedom, where money serves you instead of the other way around. But make sure you stay until the very end, because principle 7 is the game changer, the key that could completely transform your life if you apply it right. Let's dive right in and get started on this eye-opening path. Principle 1, trading time for money equals a lifetime trap. Have you ever felt you're pouring every ounce of your energy into your work, giving it your all day in and day out, yet your life barely changes for the better? It's frustrating, right? Every time you crave more money to cover rising costs or to finally feel secure, you find yourself having to trade even more of your precious time, picking up extra overtime shifts that eat into your evening, staring at the computer screen late in the night until your eyes ache, or sacrificing weekends that should be for rest and family but instead become just another work day. You work harder and harder, pushing your limits to earn just a little bit more. But in the process, you end up feeling more drained than ever before, like your soul is slowly being sapped away. Your time is inherently limited. There are only 24 hours in every single day. And your energy isn't some bottomless well. It runs dry if you overuse it. If your money only flows and when you physically show up and put in the hours, then your income is forever capped by your presence, your health, and your ability to keep going without breaking. The more you want to achieve financially, the more you have to sacrifice. Your physical health deteriorating from stress and lack of sleep, your youth slipping away in a blur of deadlines, and sometimes those irreplaceable moments with loved ones that you can never get back, no matter how much money you make later. And do you know what's even worse than all that sacrifice? Even after pouring in all those hours and giving up so much, you still feel this nagging anxiety about the future like a shadow that follows you everywhere. The instant you stop working, whether due to illness, burnout, or something unforeseen, your income grinds to a halt immediately, leaving you vulnerable and exposed. In that setup, you don't control the money. It controls you, pulling the strings of your decisions and keeping you in a constant state of subtle fear. I've met so many people with impressively high incomes, folks who earn more in a month than they ever dreamed possible when they were starting out. Yet, despite the big numbers on their paychecks, they never truly relax or enjoy life. Why? Because if their job hits a snag, sudden round of layoffs that sweeps through the company, an economic downturn that shakes the industry, or even a minor health issue that sidelines them for a few weeks, everything they build starts to crumble like a house of cards. Do you recognize that feeling deep down? That quiet underlying fear as you head to work each day, wondering, what if one day I can't keep this up anymore? What if life throws a curveball I can't dodge? That's not freedom in any sense of the word. That's a form of slavery, a bondage to monthly bills, looming loans, everyday living expenses, and the upscale lifestyle you sacrifice so much to uphold only to realize it's a fragile illusion. I want you to picture something simple yet profound to drive this home. 2 people in a village, both needing water for their homes, fetching it from a distant well every day. The first person works tirelessly, hauling heavy buckets back and forth to the scorching sun, exhausted by evening, but forced to repeat the grueling task each morning without fail. Year after year, the second person starts out the same way, carrying water like everyone else, but after finishing the daily chore, he dedicates extra time and effort to digging a pipeline from the well straight to his home. The villagers laugh at him, mocking his wasted energy. Why bother digging when you can just carry faster and get it done? But he persists, day by day, laying brick after brick, ignoring the ridicule. Then, one glorious day, the pipeline is complete and water flows effortlessly into his house. No more backbreaking labor, no more daily drudgery. Meanwhile, the first man is still out there, still carrying those heavy buckets, still tired and trapped in the cycle, starting over every single morning. Now, ask yourself what we living like in our own lives. The water carrier might earn a decent living through sheer hard work, but he's perpetually exhausted and dependent on his physical strength. The pipeline digger, on the other hand, builds lasting wealth, no matter how slow the process seemed at first. The end result is freedom, pure and simple. So here's the harsh but liberating truth. If your income dries up the moment you stop showing up, you're not truly rich. You're just getting by until the next paycheck arrives, always one step away from instability. Take a quiet moment right now and ask yourself honestly, if I stopped working today, right this second, how long would money keep flowing into my pocket? Would it last a week, a month, or only until the end of the day? That raw, unfiltered answer reveals the stark truth about how you're really living your life. Are you merely making a living, surviving from one cycle to the next? Or are you actively building a life that's resilient, abundant, and yours to command? The money you earn today might feed you temporarily, covering the immediate needs, but the assets you build today will feed you for life, providing sustenance long after your working years are behind you. And remember, this wealth time can't be multiplied. You can't clone yourself to work more hours. But money can multiply exponentially if you let it. You can hire others to leverage their time on your behalf. You can invest your money to make it work and grow for you around the clock, but you can't hire anyone to live your life for you. That's irreplaceable. Don't spend your entire existence giving away your most precious resource, your time, just to earn short-term income that vanishes as quickly as it comes. You weren't born to keep running in life's hamster wheel, sprinting so fast that you don't even realize you're going absolutely nowhere, trapped in motion without meaning. This is the pivotal moment to stop, take a deep breath, and face the unvarnished truth. If you don't change how you make and manage money, you'll remain trapped in an endless race, always chasing but never catching up. And what I'm about to share next is the first step that will help you shift from slaving away for money to letting money slave away for you, generating returns while you focus on what truly matters. Because if principle 1 helps you see the door to financial freedom standing right in front of you, then principle 2 is the key that unlocks it wide open. It will show you what truly buys freedom, and spoiler alert, it's not a high income or flashy possession, but something entirely different, more sustainable, and infinitely more powerful. Let's continue this journey together. Principle 2, assets buy freedom, not income. Have you ever seen people who are absolute wizards at making money, raking in impressive sums through their skills or businesses, but somehow they're still not free in the way you'd expect? Their high income makes them appear wildly successful on the surface. Big houses, luxury cars, exotic vacations, but deep inside, they're terrified of losing the very thing that sustains it all, always one disruption away from panic. They live in those nice houses, drive those good cars, wear those expensive clothes, but all of it only exists as long as they keep showing up to work every single morning without fail, no matter what. So what truly buys freedom in this world? It's not your income level, not the lavish lifestyle you project, not the envy-inducing possessions that scream, I've made it, but rather the assets that quietly, reliably generate income for you even when you're doing absolutely nothing, sleeping, traveling, or simply enjoying a day off. True freedom begins at the very moment this shift happens, when money keeps flowing into your pocket steadily, even if you choose to stop working entirely. Imagine waking up one morning with no blaring alarm clock jolting you awake, no rush to get dressed and commute, no obligations pulling you in directions you don't want to go. You open your eyes leisurely, stretch out in bed, and know deep in your bones that even if you decide to do nothing productive today, lounge around, read a book, spend time with family, money will still arrive right on schedule, deposit into your accounts without your intervention. That's when you truly own your life. No boss dictates your schedule. No client controls your time. No economic whim can take your breath away in exchange for a meager paycheck. Financial freedom isn't about hoarding a massive pile of money in the bank for its own sake. It's about reaching a point where money no longer decides how you have to live, where it's no longer the puppet master of your choices, fears, or dreams. I once met a wealthy man who seemed to have it all on paper. He owned a thriving company with over 200 employees buzzing around, generating monthly revenue in the hundreds of thousands, enough to make most people green with envy. But when I asked him a simple question, can you leave your company for 6 months straight and have it still run smoothly without you? He went completely silent, his confident face had cracking just a bit. The truth was he didn't dare leave for that long. He didn't dare get sick or take a real break. He didn't dare rest or slow down even for a moment. You know what that means? He didn't own the business in the true sense. The business owned him, demanding his constant present attention like a needy child. On the other hand, I met another man who was the complete opposite, ordinary in appearance, unknown to the world, no fancy titles or flashy accolades to his name, except for one crucial thing. He had spent years steadily, patiently investing in small but sustainable assets that compounded over time. A modest rental apartment that paid for itself, and then a diversified stock portfolio that grew quietly in the background, an online content channel that brought in steady passive income from views and ads. His day job didn't pay much, but his asset income kept expanding month by month, year by year, until one day he no longer needed to clock in anywhere. His assets did all the heavy lifting for him, allowing him to live the kind of life the so-called wealthy man could only dream of, but never dare to pursue. That's the essence of true wealth. It's not about how much money sits in your bank account at any given moment, ready to be spent. It's about how many days, months, or years you can live comfortably without money controlling every aspect of your existence, without the constant pressure to earn. The definition of wealth is deceptively simple, the number of days you can sustain your lifestyle without having to work for pay. Some people pull in tens of thousands a month from their jobs, But if they stop tomorrow, they could only last a month or two before everything falls apart. Debts pile up, savings deplete, lifestyle adjustments become painful necessities. Meanwhile, others with more modest incomes have built assets that could sustain them for years on end, through good times and bad. Who's really richer in that comparison? Don't let outward appearances fool you into chasing the wrong things. Some people are admired for their glamour and extravagance, but inside they're just luxurious slaves chained to their high maintenance lives. Others live quietly and humbly, flying under the radar, unknown to the masses, yet they're genuinely free every single day, masters of their own destiny. Income feeds us today, covering the rent, groceries, and utilities that keep the lights on. Assets, however, free us tomorrow, creating a buffer against uncertainty and opening doors to possibilities we once thought impossible. And that's why you must start building assets right now, no matter where you are in your journey. Ask yourself this: how much time am I spending just earning money to survive? And how much time am I dedicating to building assets that will thrive on their own? If your answer to the second question is too small or non-existent, then you already know what needs to change immediately before another year slips by. Because if you don't start building assets now, you'll keep trading your time forever, stuck in that cycle of temporary gains and long-term losses. And what I'm about to share next will help you do just that. Not by overhauling your entire life overnight, but by transforming the way you think at the very core, shifting your perspective in a way that sets everything else in motion. It's time to evolve your role from a mere employee in the game of money to a savvy manager of your own financial empire. Principle 3, from employee to money manager. Have you noticed that from a young age, we're all taught to work hard, study diligently, and aim for a stable job at the promise of security, to strive for those raises and promotions that make us feel like we're progressing. But almost no one teaches us the crucial skills of how to manage money effectively, how to make it work for us instead of us always working for it, or how to build a system of income streams that don't rely on punching a clock or pleasing a boss. Society has molded us into excellent employees, reliable cogs in the machine, but it hasn't prepared us to become truly free individuals who call the shots in our own lives. Do you know why so many people with high incomes remain poor in the long run, while others with moderate earnings grow wealthier over time? It's because the first group relies solely on labor income, which is active and finite, while the second group masters the art of shifting to asset income, which is passive and scalable. And this shift doesn't start with a windfall of money falling in your lap. It starts with a fundamental change in mindset, a rewiring of how you view every dollar. Some people, when they get paid, immediately think, what can I buy to make myself feel better after all this hard work? But the rich ask a different question: where can I invest this so it multiplies and comes back to me stronger? One seemingly small difference in questioning leads to a completely different trajectory in life, one of abundance versus one of scarcity. Most people play only one role in their financial lives: the worker. They work tirelessly, earn their paycheck, spend it on immediate needs and wants, and that's the end of the story, rinse and repeat. But the rich adopt the role of a manager. They decide where every dollar goes, how it should be deployed to work hardest, and what returns it must bring back to the table. Money is like a loyal servant. If you don't assign it a specific job, it will wander off and start working for someone else, like the retailers, the lenders, or the advertisers who are always eager to take it from you. Every day, millions of people wake up and head to work, unknowingly making someone else rich. The business owner who profits from their labor, the building owner who collects rent, the fund manager who grows wealth from investments, the bank owner who charges interest, the supermarket chain owner who pockets your grocery money. Do you see the pattern here? While they might think they're doing just fine with their steady paycheck, the reality is that we don't necessarily need to quit our jobs to break free. We need to upgrade our role in our own financial ecosystem. You can keep your current job for stability, but start becoming the CEO of the money you earn, treating it like a business you run with precision and purpose. Give every dollar you make a clear mission. Go out there and make more money for me. Some might protest, but I don't have much money yet. How can I possibly manage it like that? And I'd say, precisely because you don't have much. You must manage it impeccably well from the start. If you can't handle managing a small sum like $500 wisely, you won't magically handle $50,000 or $500 and the habits form early. Financial discipline doesn't suddenly appear when you're rich. It has to be cultivated first in the lean times to pave the way for abundance. This mindset shift won't make you rich overnight. There are no shortcuts or magic pills for that. But it begins a new journey where you're no longer just chasing money desperately. You start teaching money to chase opportunities for you. You move from reacting to financial pressures to proactively scheduling how money flows in and out. You shift from spending whatever you earn on whims to investing a portion before you even touch the rest for expenses. And then one day you realize your position has fundamentally changed. You no longer fear losing your job because your assets provide a safety net. You no longer tremble at every unexpected bill because you've built reserves. You no longer live at the mercy of a company or economy because you're in control. By then, you know for sure that money has switched sides. It's now on your team, working while you sleep, running while you rest, quietly compounding in the background without needing your constant oversight. Ask yourself these probing questions. Am I just a salary worker trading hours for pay, or am I managing money like a strategic leader? Am I actively building assets that appreciate, or am I just filling out invoices and watching the money pass through my hands? Am I the master of my money, directing it with intention, or am I just holding it briefly before passing it on to others? Your honest answers will tell you exactly where you stand on the journey to financial freedom. And they might sting a bit, But that's okay. Awareness is the first step to change. From the moment you internalize this, you won't live the same way anymore. Every expense will be scrutinized, every decision weighed for its long-term impact, every financial habit refined, because you've officially shifted roles from passive participant to active architect. But shifting roles is only the third step in this transformative process. Because even if you're ready to become a money manager, you still need to know what to manage first, how to get the ball rolling when resources seem scarce. And that leads us seamlessly to the next principle, where you'll learn how to build assets even when your current income feels small and insufficient. You don't need a fortune to start, you just need to start, and the rest will follow. Principle 4, build assets even with small income. There's one of the most dangerous illusions that holds countless people back from ever achieving wealth. The belief that when I make more money, then I'll start building assets. Right now, it's just not feasible. But the truth is the exact opposite, and it's a truth that can set you free if you embrace it. You don't get rich first and then learn the art of managing money. You master managing small amounts well, building good habits. And that discipline opens the door to becoming rich over time. Wealth doesn't begin with a hefty number glowing in your bank account. It begins with the right financial habits, the daily choices that compound like interest. I once met a young man working at a local coffee shop. His income modest at best, barely enough to cover basics after rent and food. But every month, without fail, he set aside a small amount, maybe 50 or 100. From his paycheck, he invested himself by reading books to improve his communication skills, taking affordable online courses in sales and customer service, and consistently putting a little into a simple index fund that he researched on his own. It wasn't much, but it was consistent, originally stuck to rain or shine. The people around him, friends, coworkers, laughed at his efforts. With such a small salary, what's the point of investing or learning new skills? You're just wasting time. But he just smiled knowingly and replied, if I don't do this when I have little, I won't do it when I have a lot. Habits start small. 3 years later, his sharpened skills led to a promotion to store manager, boosting his income. 5 years after that, he opened his first independent store, leveraging what he learned. And 10 years down the line, he owned multiple locations, a small empire built from humble beginnings. Not because he was born into wealth or struck it lucky, but because he started when he had nothing, planting seeds that grew into something substantial. You see, assets don't demand a mountain of money to get started. They demand a decisive choice to begin and a disciplined habit to persist. There are assets so small in scale, yet so powerful in potential that they can change your entire future trajectory. A book that sparks new ideas and opens doors to opportunities you never saw coming. A skill learned through free or low cost resources that doubles your earning potential over time. A modest investment in that compounds quietly year after year. A side project like a blog or freelance gig that evolves into a second income stream. Those seemingly insignificant things are the first bricks in what can become a towering fortress of financial security. On the flip side, I've seen people who already earn quite a lot, comfortable salaries that most would envy, but by the end of each month, their accounts are empty, wiped clean. They let every dollar slip away under excuses like, I deserve this after working so hard, or it's just a small splurge. They spend on things that make others think they're rich, designer labels, frequent vacations, gadgets, but in reality, they're building nothing lasting, just accumulating liabilities that drain them. Sometimes the real difference between the poor and the rich isn't the level of income at all. It's the daily financial decisions, the choices made in moments of temptation. Don't let the amount you have right now dictate what your future self can achieve. Don't wait until you have extra money to start building. That day may never come because life always finds ways to fill the gaps with new expenses. The problem isn't how much money you have at this moment. The problem is who you become in the process of building assets, the character you forge through consistency and foresight. The person who can set aside 10% of a small income, no matter how tight things are, will be the one who multiplies assets exponentially when the money grows larger. The person who invests in knowledge early, even when it's inconvenient, will be ready to seize opportunities when they arise. The person who sows seeds daily without fanfare will harvest more than they ever imagined possible. You don't have to sprint ahead at breakneck speed. You just have to start right where you are with what you have. Start with something small, something manageable. Today, ask yourself these reflective questions. Am I building something tangible for my future every month yet? Or am I just getting by? If my income suddenly doubled next year, would I keep and invest more of it? Or would I let lifestyle inflation eat it all? Does the money I'm spending today actively make me richer in the future? Or is it just temporary comfort? If the answer is no to any of these, that's exactly what you must change immediately. No excuses. You can't wait for luck to knock on your door. You have to build the door yourself brick by brick. And once you start building assets, even with a small income, you've already surged ahead of 90% of people who only dream of a free life but never take the first step. But there's one more crucial element to this puzzle. No matter how much you can earn or how diligently you build, it's meaningless if you can't hold on to any of it, if it slips through your fingers like sand. Which brings us to the next principle. It's not how much you earn, but how much you keep that truly matters. Principle 5 is not how much you earn, but how much you keep. Have you seen those people who make a ton of money, impressive salaries or business profits, but by the end of the month, there's nothing left to show for it? They get paid and almost instantly the money transforms into a whirlwind of expenses, a new smartphone upgrade they didn't really need, weekend outings to bars and restaurants for the social buzz, trend, chasing fashion items that lose their appeal in weeks, impulsive trips just to flaunt on social media and feel alive. And then one day they look back and realize they've worked for years, poured in countless hours, and own nothing substantial, just a stack of bills waiting to be paid and memories of fleeting pleasures. You could earn $1 in a month and end up as broke as someone who earns $10 and spends $9.99. The net result is the same, zero progress. Conversely, if you earn $1 but manage to keep and invest $200 every month, consistently you're laying the foundation of freedom brick by brick, creating a growing buffer that compounds. Income shows how much you can bring in through effort. Assets show how much you can keep and grow. But financial discipline reveals you'll become in the future the architect of your destiny. Many people aren't poor because they earn too little. They're poor because they spend too fast, too impulsively, without thought for tomorrow. Modern life is full of whispers tempting you. You deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor right now. A luxurious life is what matches your hard work. Just pay in installments and you can have it all today, no waiting. But what's the cold, hard truth behind those siren calls? Wealth comes not from what you can buy in the moment, but from what you can keep and reinvest for the long haul. Have you noticed how truly wealthy people don't feel the need to flaunt their success? They have nothing to prove to anyone. They don't buy the most expensive watch or car just to signal status. Instead, they let their assets do the talking, working quietly in the background. Meanwhile, many who are struggling financially try to buy things to mimic the rich, acquiring the image of wealth, the designer bags, the flashy jewelry, but in doing so, they forfeit the real opportunity to become wealthy, trapping themselves in debt and regret. A wise friend once told me there are two kinds of pain in finance: the pain of discipline, which involves saying no to temptations now, and the pain of regret, which hits hard when you realize what could have been. You have to choose one. There's no third option, no way to avoid pain altogether. The pain of discipline is temporary, a short-term discomfort that builds character and leads to rewards. The pain of regret lasts a lifetime, echoing through missed opportunities and what ifs. So whenever you hold money in your hand, poised to spend, ask yourself, will this purchase make me richer in the future, or is it just a momentary high? If I buy it today, am I trading away my freedom a year from now or investing in something lasting? Will I be glad I bought it down the line? Or will I regret the lost potential just by changing your spending habits? Question each outlet. Your future will start to shift in positive ways, aligning with your goals. I'm not saying you have to live miserably, denying yourself all joy. I'm saying prioritize your future self over your present impulses. A new shirt might make you happy for a day or two. An investment in assets can make you free for a lifetime, opening doors you can't even imagine yet. Don't be a slave to money just to appear rich in the eyes of others. Let every expense reflect the future you deserve. Future without the constant fear of bills piling up. A future no longer dependent on a single job or paycheck. A future where money is your ally, not your adversary. Keeping money isn't about being stingy or miserly. It's about respecting your own future, honoring the hard work you've put in by ensuring it bears fruit. And if you've mastered keeping money, building that discipline, you're primed for the next step. Buy assets first and enjoy the rewards later. That's the principle that propels you from mere stability to true, enduring freedom. Principle 6, buy assets first, enjoy later. One of the clearest, most telling differences between the wealthy and those perpetually struggling financially lies in the order of their spending priorities, the sequence in which they allocate their money. When an average person gets paid, their mind jumps straight to reward mode. I've worked so hard, I deserve to treat myself right now. And so the money flows out to a new iPhone model they convince themselves is essential, a night at a fancy restaurant for the ambience, or trendy items bought impulsively just to post on social media and garner likes. But the wealthy operate on a different wavelength. They follow a simple yet extraordinarily powerful principle: buy assets first, enjoy the luxuries later. They don't prioritize things that consume money and depreciate. They focus on things that produce more money, creating a virtuous cycle. I once met a young man in California, just 25 years old, earning about $30 in a month, not poverty level, but not rolling in dough either. While his friends were racking up credit card debt for new cars, designer clothes, and weekend getaways, he did the opposite, living frugally and putting $500 a month into a low-cost index fund. He told me, I'm not buying the car I like until my investments generate enough returns to cover it without dipping into the principal. 7 years later, he used the gains from that very investment to buy his dream car outright. And the best part, he kept the original investment intact, allowing it to continue compounding and growing. That's the stark difference between the wise, who build sustainably, and those who chase the appearance of richness at the cost of actual wealth. You can choose to buy luxury items so others think you're rich, impressing strangers who don't matter, or you can invest wisely to actually become rich, securing your independence. You have to pick one path. Trying to do both usually leads to compromise and regret. The wealthy think strategically, buy what brings in money first, and that money will eventually buy the things I want later on its own terms. But the poor or middle class often think short-sightedly. Just buy it now, pay it off later. I deserve this after all my effort. Yet when you live on consumer credit, everything you buy becomes a financial burden. A weight that drags you down. You pay not only with money, but with your future freedom. Interest payments eating away at potential. Look at this concrete example to illustrate: person A earns $4 a month, but spends $3,900 to $900 on lifestyle upkeep, rich in image, but poor in future prospects, always one paycheck from trouble. Person B earns the same $4,000 in assets that generate a conservative 10% annual return. After 10 years through compounding, they have over $200,000 in assets, a nest egg that provides options and security. Two vastly different lives stemming from a single choice of priorities on payday. Which one will you emulate? The one who spends lavishly to maintain a rich fat cat, or the one who invests quietly to become truly rich? Discipline might make you seem behind in others' eyes for the first few years as they flaunt their purchases while you hold back. But after 10, 15, or 20 years, the tables turn. They'll look at you with envy saying, if only I'd started like you back then. We must all learn this simple but sometimes painful lesson, something that makes you feel cool. A superior day might be exactly what steals your freedom tomorrow, robbing you of peace. Assets can take many forms: an investment portfolio that grows steadily, a rental apartment that pays monthly dividends, an online business that runs semi-automatically, a content channel that gains traction over time, a skill that boosts your value and income potential. You don't need a lot of money to start. In fact, you must start before you have a lot, building momentum from scratch. Ask yourself every time you're about to spend, will this bring money back to me in some way? Or is it a one-way drain? If I investing in my future or creating a problem that'll haunt me a year from now, will this hold or increase in value, or will it just turn into debt and dust? The person who once was poor says, I'll buy assets when I have more money. But the person who becomes rich always says, I have more money precisely because I bought assets early and often. And once you prioritize assets in your life, every decision you make starts making you richer instead of enriching someone else. The retailers, the banks, the marketers. That mindset shift leads us to the final principle, where financial freedom isn't just built but expands dynamically over time. Passive income must grow continuously. Principle 7, passive income must grow over time. If you're just beginning to build assets, the income they generate might seem laughably small at first, maybe just 20, 50, or 100 a month trickling in. But don't let that modest number discourage or fool you. You're not merely building an amount of money, you're constructing the financial momentum of your entire life, a force that gains speed and power. Because the ultimate goal isn't just to have some passive income ticking along, it's to have passive income that grows over time, scaling up through reinvestment and compounding. Wealth doesn't arrive in one dramatic big leap, like winning the lottery or striking gold. It comes from small, consistent steps that never cease, accumulating like snowflakes into an avalanche. I have a friend in Texas who started modestly, investing only $200 a month into a diversified portfolio when he was young and earning average wages. In the first few years, the returns were truly modest, barely enough for a couple of dinners out or a tank of gas, nothing to brag about. But he stayed consistent, resisting temptations. He didn't quit halfway when progress felt slow, wasn't swayed by shiny new cars or depreciating gadgets that his peers chased. After 10 years, his portfolio had ballooned to over $150,000, generating meaningful income. After 15 years, that wealth was sufficient to cover his family's entire living expenses without touching the principal. And the most remarkable thing wasn't the dollar figure, it was the unmistakable freedom shining in his eyes, the peace of mind. He no longer feared losing his job in a recession. He no longer dreaded economic crises that rattle markets. He no longer depended on anyone or anything to survive another day. He shared something with me. I'll never forget. Assets mean I don't have to fight every day anymore. Now, money fights for me tirelessly. That's the transformative moment when a person truly crosses over to the other side of financial freedom, where effort is optional, not mandatory. Understand this clearly. Income from a job helps you live today, paying the bills and keeping the wolf from the door. Passive income, however, helps you live the rest of your life on your terms, providing a perpetual safety net. Think of passive cash flow like a river. At first, it's just a tiny spring bubbling up from the ground, barely noticeable. But over the years, with steady nourishment, it widens into an abundant, unstoppable current that carves its own path. If you keep sowing seeds, keep building and upgrading your assets, one day that flow will surpass all the active income you've ever earned from labor. But if you stop halfway, discouraged by slow starts, it will remain just an unfinished dream. What could have been passive income must always possess two key traits: automation, meaning it works without your daily presence or micromanagement, and growth, meaning it multiplies more over time through compounding or expansion. Ask yourself each year as a check, and how much have my assets grown since last year? Is there anything in my portfolio that no longer produces solid returns? And should I reallocate? Every dollar you have must have a clear mission: to birth more dollars, to create value. And each year that system must be stronger, more resilient than the year before, adapting to changes. The financially free don't measure success by their salary or bonuses. They measure it by the number of days or years they can live comfortably without working, and they always strive to increase that number, pushing the boundaries of independence. Ask yourself right now, if I stopped working for 1 year today, could I live without financial stress? If the answer is no, then you know you need to keep building, keep refining, so that one day the answer becomes a resounding yes, and it keeps getting better, richer every day. Passive income doesn't just bring wealth in the material sense, it brings choice, the ultimate luxury, the choice to rest when your body needs it without guilt, the choice to travel when the wanderlust strikes, exploring the world, the choice to refuse opportunities or demands that aren't worthy of your time or values. And above all, the choice to live your own life authentically and fully without compromise. That is when you are truly irrevocably free. If you've followed along to this point, absorbing each principle, it tells me you're not content to just get by in life. You crave real freedom, refusing to spend your days tied to one job, one salary, one narrow path. You're someone with the courage to change, to break the mold. Remember the entire journey we've taken together. 1, don't trade your whole life just to make a living. Break the time for money trap. 2, assets are what buy genuine freedom, not fleeting income. 3, shift your role from mere employee to masterful money manager. Start building assets even with a small income. Consistency trumps amount. 5, keep your money and invest it wisely. Don't let impulses steal your future. 6, buy assets first. Enjoy the fruits later. Priorities shape destiny. And 7, let your assets generate passive income that grows over time, compounding your freedom. You don't need to be perfect to start this journey. You just need to start right now so that one day you can live more perfectly, more freely. Life won't wait for you to feel ready. Neither will freedom. Seize it. So if these lessons have resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next insights on building a life of true financial freedom. And I want you to answer one question in the comments below. If you stop working tomorrow, how long would money keep flowing into your pocket? Your answer will be a promise to yourself, a benchmark for growth. As I once heard, you're not paid by the hour, you're paid by the value you create in each hour. Start increasing your value, your assets, your freedom, and let your future prove that you dare to choose differently boldly. See you in the next video where we'll continue planting the seeds of wealth for your mind, your actions, and your wallet.